What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be showing you how I made these two super simple American flags. So these flags, I tried to make them as simple as possible for people who might not have a lot of tools or woodworking experience. If you've seen any of my other videos, usually I'll be using stain and different things like that. But for this one, they're just super simple. I just use spray paint and some very basic tools, and I think they turn out pretty good. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, so before we start, I'm gonna quickly go over real quick what I'm gonna be using. So I just got a tape measure here. I got a razor blade knife, a pencil, some frog tape, the 1.88 inch frog tape. I got the hangers that I used for the back of it, a screwdriver. I got my 4 different colors of paint. I'll go ahead and list the colors out in the description for you. And then I got a straight edge here. And then I got the stencils that I used for the stars. All right, so I'm just starting out with this piece of 1/2 inch MDF board. It's 2 foot by 4 foot, and I'm gonna be cutting it to 37 inches by 19.5 inches. If you do not have a saw, depending on where you go, they should have someone who can cut it for you. I know Home Depot and Lowe's both offer this, so if you get it from there, just grab one of their workers and ask them if they can cut it for you. And again, that's 37 inches by 19.5. Now that we got this cut, next up, I'm going to take this and just line it up in this top left corner, and then I'm gonna outline it with a pencil. And then using some cardboard and this tape, I'm just going to tape off the square. I'll go ahead and link this stencil in the description. You can get a multi-pack for like $8, so they're super cheap. All right, now that we got that covered up, the next thing that we're gonna do is take some white spray paint. I just got some Satin Blossom White, and we're just gonna go ahead and spray a couple coats on all this exposed area. And I'm just gonna try and spray it on there nice and even. And I'll probably do around 3 or 4 coats and just try to do them lighter. And I'll just get it until it looks like it's covering really well. All right, so now that I've given this some time to dry, the next thing that we're gonna do is I'm gonna take my frog tape and make sure that you get the 1.88 inch frog tape so that it's wide enough for the stripes. And what I'll do is just measure 1.5 inches down, and then I'm gonna make a mark with 1.5 inches between. So I'll start at 1.5 inches, 3 inches, 4.5. And then I'll be doing it along the union, and then along this whole side, and then down this side as well. Then once I got those marked, I'm just gonna take a straight edge and I'll just line it up with my marks, and then just make a light mark with a pencil. So then I'll have all my stripes marked out, and then I'm gonna be taping off every other one starting from the second to the top. So the very top and the very bottom will be red, and I'll be taping it off for the white stripes, so every other one in between. And with this tape, you can either just stick one side of it and then have some slack in the middle and stick the other side, or what I like to do is just pull out a nice long piece, and then I'll cut it in half, and then that way I can tape on either side with the straight edges, and then it will just overlap in the middle. I'll show you what that looks like, but I'm just gonna go ahead and get these white stripes taped off. And then for my red spray paint, I just got this Satin Heritage Red. All right, so I just wanted to show you real quick what this looks like. So I have my straight edges on the outside, and then this piece is cut in half. And then I just have my slack overlapping in the middle. So then that way I get both of the straight edges with the slack in the middle. And the Home Depot that I went to, they had the 1.8 inch and the 1.4 inch, I believe it is. Yeah, so they have 1.41 and 1.88. So if you don't want to have to cut all these in half, you could just get the 1.41 inch. Then that way it won't be quite wide enough, but you'll just end up using a lot more tape. So this way you don't use quite as much. But obviously if you want to get the other stuff, that's totally fine. But now we're going to go ahead and spray out the red. All right, so I did 3 coats on this, and it looks like it's covering nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this tape, and we'll see how our lines turned out. This frog tape usually works pretty well for clean lines, so. All right, so it turned out pretty good. And I can go ahead and also remove this stuff for the union as well, because that is what we're gonna move on to next. And you wanna peel it off. I try to peel it off like at an angle, pulling it the opposite way. And I think that kind of helps to make sure that it doesn't peel anything up with it. So I'll just pull it at an angle like that. And it's okay if this line isn't perfect because we can just tape right on the other side of it when we spray our blue. But I'm gonna go ahead and let this red dry up a little bit more because I didn't let it dry for very long. And I just want it to dry up all the way before I tape to it for spraying the blue. So I'm just gonna give that some time to dry up all the way. All right, now that that's had some time to dry up, now I'm just gonna go ahead and paint the union. So for that, I got this Satin Classic Navy. I wanted to go for a little bit of a darker look, but if you wanted to go for something a little lighter, you could also try this Satin Sapphire here. That'll give it a little bit of a lighter blue, but I was just gonna go with the darker blue. So I'm just gonna tape off the stripes, cover the rest up with some paper or cardboard, and get that blue sprayed out. All right, now once this blue dries up all the way, then we can just take our stencil, drop it on there, tape that in place, and then I'm gonna dust some white on there. And that one you really wanna be careful not to spray it on there too thick. I'm just gonna do a bunch of light, even coats, and then that way it won't bleed as much. And then also try and hold it as straight out as you can and not at an angle so it doesn't go under the stencil. So just do your best to hold it straight out and do a bunch of nice, even coats, and those should come out nice and clean. All right, so I went ahead and got the stars sprayed out. So we can go ahead and pull off all the paper and masking and everything. And as you can see, those turned out really nicely. And then the last thing I'm gonna paint is around the edges. So if you just want a clean border, you could just tape off right along the edge and then just spray the edges black, or you could just leave them as they are, depending on what you want. But for mine, I'm not gonna tape anything off and I'm just gonna spray it, and I'm gonna try give it a little bit of a darker shadowed look. So you don't have to do it this way if you don't want to, but that's just the look that I was going for. So I'm just gonna take my black spray paint and just spray around the edges. And then after we do that, all we have to do is put the hangers on the back and we'll be all done. All right, so that is how that black turned out. I think it turned out pretty good, but if you want to try do it heavier or a little bit lighter or just not do it at all and just do around the border, that's totally fine. I just wanted to show you how mine looks just to maybe help you get a better guess of what you would like. But now that we got that sprayed out, let's flip it over and do the hangers. You can use any picture style hanger really. I'm just gonna use these ones. And all I'm gonna do is just measure 4 inches down and 4 inches over on either side. And then I'm just gonna use a screwdriver to put them in. If you have a drill, it'll be easier. I'm just gonna use this because not all people have drills and I just wanna show that it can be done with a screwdriver. I just got these at Home Depot. They're just D-ring hangers and they're super simple. If you get a different style hanger, make sure that you either pull the screw all the way out or thread it all the way through, and then just hold it right next to it and just make sure that it's not gonna go through and push out the front. So these ones, as you can see, are nice and short. But like I said, I'm just gonna measure 4 down, 4 over. That's where I'll put the top screw. You gotta push kind of hard. As you can see, I got my scraps left over. I got those below it on the face just so that I don't scuff it up. So you got to push kind of hard, but they'll go in. And then also double check and make sure that your union is on the top, or just make sure that when you flip it, you don't flip it the other way and end up with your union on the bottom and your hangers aren't on the wrong side. But I'm just gonna go ahead and quickly throw these on there. All right, and that is it for you. Also, you can use the wider cutoff piece to make a mini flag if you would like to do that. I'll go ahead and put the measurements for that one in the description. And if you buy the stencil multi-pack, it'll have the mini stencil in it already. So you'll already have the stencil and you'll already have all of the paint for it. The only thing that'll be different is that for the stripes, you're gonna have to cut the paint a little bit thinner so that it'll fit on those stripes. Otherwise, you're gonna have to buy some of the smaller frog tape. They actually do sell frog tape that's 0.94 inches. So this stuff, you can cut it in half and do the same like you did on this one. So that way you can get 2 flags out of a single piece of MDF. That one, as you can see, I went a little bit heavier around the edges. It's kind of tough since it's not as big. It's harder to just lightly dust the edges, but I think it still turned out pretty cool. If you guys enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. I'd love to hear any video recommendations that you guys might have. I want to thank everyone for all the nice comments that you guys leave me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and please have a great day. Yeah.